What's wrong with it? She's sexy as hell. Damn.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Console Explosion show. And today's topic is the thought is sparked around Blizzard. In case you guys haven't heard, over the Christmas holiday, Blizzard released their skins, their legendary skins for Overwatch. And there was a character, Mei, who got a outfit, and apparently the gamers were not happy with it. Not exactly sure why. Essentially, it led to Blizzard apologizing for the outfit, I believe, on social media. I want to ask Ian and Tyler first. First off, based off of what you know so far, do you think that Blizzard should have apologized?
My personal opinion, no. What's wrong with it? She's sexy as hell. Damn. No, they shouldn't apologize. Well, what is wrong with it?
I think they said it was ugly. I have no idea. It's one of those things where it really makes no goddamn sense why they're apologizing about it. It's Christmas. What could she possibly look like aside from Mrs. Claus or Santa Claus? So, what?
Coming from a guy who has played Dead or Alive, there's Santa outfits in there. You can go that direction. She's modestly dressed.
Yes.
She just has a Mrs. Santa Claus outfit on, and from what I read before, people were mad because this was considered her legendary skin. So I'm not sure if they're mad that this is wasting a slot for her legendary skin. I believe games like League of Legends have done that in the past, and they can be holiday themed. Me personally, I don't see the issue with her outfit. I don't think
there's any issue either. I mean, yeah, if I was a professional Mei player, I'd totally go for that outfit. I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
What about Ian? Do you think they should have apologized?
It's a random event that's going to happen once a year with a specialty skin that you'll never be able to get again. And ultimately, I don't understand why anyone cares in the slightest. Makes no sense to me at all. It's just another sign to me that the Overwatch community is just literally just full of babies, gigantic babies. All the ones I've met have been toxic as fuck, so I'm just like really tired of it.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe you should get off the rank battles. Yeah.
I don't even play ranked anymore because of how irritated I get at those people. Because I'm like, this game just isn't fun in that environment. No matter what, somebody's always going to try to make calls that they're ultimately not even qualified to be making, and they're just terrible decision makers. I just can't take it anymore as far as how irritating it is, and the fact that they're complaining about a skin that makes Mei look like Mrs. Claus when Mei is arguably one of the most irritating characters to begin with. I don't understand.
When there's an issue on Overwatch, it seems like it's always Mei, in my opinion.
Oh, it's always Mei, because she's, I don't know, to me, she's the most rage-inducing character I've ever encountered in that game, in the sense that when she freezes you, she has a solid second to just aim at your face. And just, oh my god. I mean, the ult is nice, but the fact that in like a one-on-one fight, she can just straight up freeze you.
Right.
So goddamn frustrating.
So this goes back to my point, though, is that I agree. I don't think Blizzard should have apologized for this at all. And my issue is the fact that Blizzard felt like they had to apologize for something that they thought was cool. You're basically saying that these people are making their game, their art, and they made something that they thought was cool, and your reaction is to basically insult them and insult their opinion of what they objectively think is cool. And that kind of seems really fucked up to me. That, like, I mean, again, I am a fanboy, so I'm a little bit biased, but I think even still, like, I find this to be kind of messed up, and this isn't the first time that we've seen this happen in the past. I know Ian doesn't like this game, but Mass Effect 3 and the ending, and I'm a little bit torn on this because of the fact that it's EA, but I also just hate the way that gamers as a whole kind of just complain about the silly things. And well, the fact that gamers can influence a developer so heavily, and it makes me wonder, like, the direction that gaming is going in, is it like, how much control do we really have over that as consumers? Because I think we have more than we think, but we tend to complain about certain aspects of the game that really aren't as important sometimes.
Ain't it because they promise they won't do like a certain ending, and they end up doing that certain ending? I can't remember. Like all the endings are basically the same. That's what they're mad at.
There wasn't really much closure in the ending. All three of the endings kind of had the same vibe to it, even though they were different. I think the execution of the ending, yeah, it wasn't. It didn't bother me, but I also didn't do all three endings and I guess feel gypped. Because I played the entirety of the game and did a lot of the completionist stuff, but the ending, that wasn't the part that I was really looking forward to in that game anyway, because of the way you play it. I mean, that's just me personally, but I wasn't disappointed by it. Things that they change in games sometimes, like the mechanics, without really explaining that, you know.
Yeah, I know what he's saying. I'm a huge Twisted Metal fan. Huge Twisted Metal guy. And one of the last one, which came out on the PS3, they did something. I thought, why would you do this? And this was technically there's only like 3 characters in the whole game. Technically, there's only 3. Now, here's the thing: there are like 12 different vehicles for you to choose, but you only one person can drive all of those. And basically, what they did was in the game, they when this vehicle gets too beat up, you can take it to a garage and switch it out. And I wasn't too fond of that.
Sounds like they kind of took the personality in the car and made them separate rather than like. I'm guessing what you're saying is that they've usually associated the car with a certain person/personality.
For each character, I cannot imagine really Sweet Tooth driving
like Spectre's car or something like that.
Spectre's car. I mean, maybe like Axel's vehicle, maybe, but anything else? No.
I get what you're saying, especially with that game, because I did love the old Twisted Metals. And I mean, I'm getting a little bit off point, but it's still somewhat relevant to the fact that it's like certain things that do and don't do well. And the fact that I believe that Twisted Metal didn't do too well, because I think a lot of people felt like the spirit of that game wasn't really in it.
Here's the thing: the multiplayer was awesome. I love the multiplayer. It was just, the main, I guess, what do you call it, campaign, I didn't really care for.
Yeah, and at the same time, the way gaming is done is changing too. So sometimes I feel like certain games, it's hard for them to be relevant again. A game like Twisted Metal was a huge gamble to try to come out nowadays, because of the way that internet is so integrated into most gamers nowadays. I feel like multiplayer kind of dominates gaming over single player.
Sadly, I think so. Because I'm all about the story, the campaign, what's going to happen next. I can't wait for the next part of the story to arrive. And most people like multiplayer.
Kind of try to bring it back to point, which is, gamers kind of influencing developers by complaining about certain things, or I guess the opposite, like not complaining about certain things. And I don't know why, but this Blizzard thing kind of has me. Like, it really bothers me that this is something that has happened. And I don't quite know how to put it into words, but just, like, I'm curious to know more about the priorities of, like, what these people are thinking about. I mean, Ian already did express, the people that he's interacted with, but it's just really sad to me that it's a whole portion of gamers that enjoy playing this game, but at the same time have little respect, in my opinion, to the developer. And I've been on both sides, so that's kind of why I have this, I guess, conflicting opinion. As someone who's sitting there and playing this game and enjoying it and ranting and raving about it, but then when the developer comes out with something that they thought was cool, your first reaction is just to bitch about it because it's not what you want. I don't know. It seems really, really disappointing. As I'm getting older, I assume that the online community is going to mature with me, but that hasn't really been the case. It seems like it's a lot of people in high school, they don't really mature at all.
The only thing I can think of is they think it's too sexualized. Has anyone complained of her being too sexualized with Miss Santa's outfit? She totally has clothes on, and even a lot of clothes can still be sexy.
So yeah, I just have been kind of... I guess over the last week, I had to, I thought about this. We did the Star Wars podcast last week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about this. It's been there sitting in my head, I guess, for the last week, and it's just been kind of brewing. And I've been thinking about, like, how do we, as gamers and online community really affect the direction of our gaming. I'm kind of curious, Ian, what you think about like not just this particular instance, but like in the past with the way that people complain about things with developers. Like, how do you see, or what do you think about that impacting like how games are developed?
I don't know. As far as I can tell, this is the first time in my experience where I've seen something so arbitrary as a character skin be challenged by the gaming public. I mean, I haven't really encountered this much before, but because I think almost like the whole gamer skin thing that they've introduced is a relatively recent occurrence, of probably within the last like 6-7 years, with Team Fortress 2 introducing a lot of the monetary compensation for skins, CSGO allowing for skin unlocks and monetary trade for that kind of stuff. So I think what's interesting about Overwatch is that it's typically like you can buy the loot crates and stuff like that. So I guess I could see how maybe Blizzard was looking at it, that people were putting money into a skin that they didn't like, and that potentially could be why they apologized. But as far as this thing being something that's relatively impactful on game development, I don't know. It might just be Blizzard being very overprotective of their gamer community and not wanting to alienate any potential game players or anything like that, considering Overwatch is already starting to kind of get at least a negative connotation, at least in competitive rounds, like with a toxic community. So Blizzard might be trying to just kind of basically counter it as quickly as possible to please as many people as possible to maintain the player base.
I don't play Overwatch as much as you guys do, but why do you think this community in particular is so toxic?
The ranking system? That'd be why. I mean, considering like if you played StarCraft at all, they kind of had a similar thing with their ranking system, where you had a lot of shit talking and stuff like that. So I think it just has to do with that arbitrary number. People get really defensive of it. And I think it just comes from that background of like Dota, League of Legends, and all those. He's kind of being amplified into an FPS that has a similar ranking system.
This isn't the first game to have a toxic community anyway, but I mean, and yes, while I do agree this is the first instance that I've seen, and this is kind of why I'm talking about it, because it's so not relevant to the game itself that while there, like you said before, there is money that is involved because you are paying for the boxes, at the same time, it just seems so minuscule that it shouldn't need an apology. And I know people have ranted about things in the past, but it's just like, I think what bothers me is that there are certain practices that are done that people aren't happy with, but they kind of deal with them because they still want the game. But, and there's certain mechanics, like companies like EA have a very questionable business practice, but somehow they still continue to make a lot of numbers. I don't think I've bought an EA game in a while, but they still make tons of money, even though there's a lot of weird practices going on. And to me, this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It sort of mirrors the way I feel about, to be somewhat vague, how I feel about the way politics are going, where people will complain about certain media, like non-important things, to the point to where it makes, headlines, but they won't stand up for things that are going on. And that's kind of how I feel about it with gaming at this point, to where you're kind of bitching about something that's not that important, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think you might have an interesting backlash in the sense that with the current generation of systems coming out, you have a lot of hardware sales, but you also have stagnating software sales. So you probably have a lot of companies that are really, if they have something that's semi-successful, especially with Blizzard, in the sense that Overwatch was the first new IP they launched in probably 10 years. So it's like the first new idea they released out to the market, and the fact that it had a successful player base almost immediately was something they probably wanted to hang on to aggressively. So I think they're very sensitive to anything that could potentially derail the successful potential of the game. And that, I think a lot of that has to do with the competitive nature of Overwatch and how it lends itself immediately to competitive gaming things like that, or professional gaming leagues.
I worry, and hopefully this, and that does make sense, by the way. My concern is that in the future, if, what's to say that this won't happen again with something a little more influential, I suppose, with this company, if they don't like set their standards right now of like what they're going to apologize for, what they're not going to apologize. And it's speculative. It's very speculative. I just can't help but wonder.
But all in all, it literally makes absolutely no sense to me why they're complaining about a Christmas suit on Overwatch. But then again, to me, it's like it's not. Oh, my dog has an opinion.
Yep.
She has an opinion. It's completely arbitrary to me in the sense that it doesn't matter to me at all, and the fact that like the skins in Overwatch, really, a lot of them aren't that impressive to begin with. And I guess maybe because it's an ultimate skin are harder to get potentially, might be why. But it literally makes no sense to me.
I shake my head at the situation a little bit. On that note, actually, if there is someone who doesn't like this skin to the point to where they're raging, can you tell me why that is? Like, I just want to know. Just leave it down in the comments below and explain to me. And if you guys do agree with me, also leave that down in the comments below as well, so that we can maybe figure this out a little bit, because I've hit a standstill with the reasoning behind the people that would hate on this, and there's not much on that side of it. It's more so on the side of, a Blizzard apologizing, and that's what a lot of the articles are talking about. So share your thoughts. So I'm going to go down the line, and starting with Ian, and you can find out what they do and where you can find them.
Yeah, I guess you want to talk to me, you can find me on www.historicnerd.com, or if you want to talk to me directly, you can talk to me at historicalnerd on twitter.com, or you can find me on the consoleexplosion.com, or you can kind of bug us on the Facebook page as well. So, yeah.
All right. And Tyler?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, The Video Game Hunter, or Hot Anime 32. They'll both take you to the same channel. Also have a Twitter, VGH32, Facebook, The Video Game Hunter, and if you want to see some, I guess, some alright artwork of mine, I also have a Diva art page, Video Game Hunter. And I also drawn Mei as a pickle, so check out that.
Hey, also, John, man, thank you for coming and dropping by and sharing some of your thoughts with it. But this shit is, in fact, live.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. But Philosopher just likes to kind of keep it on topic.
Yeah. I didn't even see that, so sorry about that, sir. But yeah, no, shouts out to John. I actually know that guy. He's a really cool guy. But yeah, we're ending the show. Thank you for stopping by. If you have any more thoughts, please share them. I'll be checking the comments just a little bit longer, the live feed. But anyways, I'm the Philosopher. You can find me on facebook.com/thephilosopher, youtube.com/thephilosopher, and Twitter @thephilosopher. And of course, you can find me and all these fine gentlemen over at the consoleexplosion.com. And also, if you want to catch our show live, subscribe so you can get an update. We do it Wednesday at 10 p.m. Every week, and then we upload it within the weekend after it's been edited. So subscribe so you can get those updates. Hit the like button on this video if you like that, and share with your friends. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.